And CJ at the end of the 9 here. I don't know. I think I'm on the back 9, Lacy.
That's almost the end.
Not a good one. Find out tonight during the Christmas tree lighting if I fall over on this microphone stand. You know, see what happens.
Are you going to bring that microphone stand specifically?
I do. So if anyone that knows me knows that we have a couple of different red microphones, but I have my own. This is like, it even says, is this the one? Oh, damn it. They switched them up. One of these has CJ on a mic stand somewhere. Yeah, that's, you're getting fired. Whoever it was, you're done. No, but I have a microphone stand that says CJ on the bottom of it. How's life been treating you, Lacy?
It's all right. It's been a good week for articles.
So you wrote about sea monsters?
I did. Why
did I make sea monsters possess the marionettes? I put an apostrophe there. That was a weird thing to do.
The sea monsters just took the marionettes. Yeah. So this was actually one of the most fun articles I've ever researched. And a lot of the stuff that was the most fun didn't even make it into the article. So I'll talk about that in a second. But what made it into the article, what I focused on, what I started with was when Tony Sarg's Marionettes came to Alton for a set of shows. Yes. So I saw some articles about that and loved it. And there were quite a few really prominent people who were in the arts, and also the librarian from Hainer. Her quote didn't make it in because I had a whole bunch of quotes, but a whole bunch of people in Alton who had seen the Marionettes and talked about how great they were. And so they finally came on November 15th, 1924, and there were 2 packed shows. The 2 shows were the Pied Piper of Hamelin in the afternoon and Treasure Island in the evening. So they were at the Spalding Auditorium, which is where the Hainer Library parking lot is now. So right down from my library.
So I gotta ask you, were marionettes the form of entertainment besides the Nickelodeon? So
this was actually really interesting because Tony Sarg kind of brought that to popularity in the United States. So he formed a marionette company in 1917, which was just a couple years after he moved here. He moved to New York City in 1915 from Germany and formed the marionette company. They started touring, and then they toured around from then until 1939. And so they came to Alton 3 times that I know of. Once in 1924, once in 1927, and then they did Arabian Nights and Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, also at Spalding Auditorium. And then they came to what was then Monticello College to perform Robinson Crusoe in April 1939.
Do you know what I think of when I think of marionettes?
What?
This.
Welcome to
Oh, dang it.
such a perfect town. Here we have some rules, let us lay them down. Go make waves, get in line,
Yeah.
and we'll get along fine. Dulong is up.
Isn't that such a nice kind of, Shrek is underrated.
Shrek is wonderful.
I think it was meant for adults.
Well, have you read the original picture book?
No.
There's an original picture book.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah.
Have you seen the original Shrek animations?
No.
They are
That
terrifying.
didn't make it
oh
into
my
the show.
God. Whoever made them should have been fired
Well, it
and
might
burned.
have been from the original book, and it might have been based on that because he's,
man.
sort of terrifying in the book.
Oh, man. Here, I got to find it. So, the Marionettes,
Yes.
take me through this. So, how many people attended?
Oh, I'm not sure. I think it was several hundred. I want to
Wow.
say that they had to have a smaller audience because otherwise you wouldn't be able to see.
Right.
But I want to say it was about 250 that they had there, and it was packed both times. So I assume that about 500 people saw it that day.
You ready to see what Shrek was going to look like?
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
Shrek.
gosh, that's worse than the picture book.
That was from the original test in 1995.
Terrifying. I'm surprised that the test did not pass.
Well, they made
changed it.
Shrek was a B movie. They didn't care about it. It was like one of those where if you got sent to Shrek, you were done. They hated
Really?
you. And then all of a sudden, Shrek becomes the cultural phenomenon.
Oh,
I really think that
wow.
between Shrek and Toy Story, that's what really lifted DreamWorks up
Yeah.
to, especially when they had the American Idol version of Shrek. Do you remember that on DVD?
No.
Oh, man, you're missing out. They had
Now I've got things to look for.
Donkey was like leading the far, far away idol. It's great stuff.
I will look at that.
So when it came to marionettes, how were they designed? Were they like pretty intricate at this point in time? Because we're 1924?
Yes, they were extremely intricate. They could move around. I mean, they were controlled by people with strings hanging down to control their movements and everything. And Tony Sarg did a lot to create like really interactive marionettes. So
is it Tony Stark?
Tony Sarg.
Oh, Sarg. Okay.
Sarg. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So he was kind of, and then he taught the artist that did the marionettes in The Sound of Music.
Wow.
Yeah. Who then inspired Jim Henson. So he kind of had a really nice legacy of puppetry and marionettes.
Was this a pretty white collar event to go to?
Oh, you know what? I don't know.
Were tickets pretty expensive?
No, they were not expensive. There were tickets. You had to pay for it, but a big part of that was because it was expensive to have the show.
Oh God, I can only imagine. Yeah.
So the McDowell Club, which was the music organization that was part of the Studio School of Music that Catherine V. Dickinson created. We actually talked about her a long time ago. She's the one that did the art show. So anyway, she created that. It was student musicians, and they're the ones that brought it to Alton, but it was expensive enough that they needed to recoup some costs. But I think that they kept it low enough that people, and especially children, would be able to come to it.
So what are these darn sea monsters?
Oh my gosh.
Okay, hold on. First, before we go to the sea monsters.
Yes.
Can we talk about the Thanksgiving Day Parade first?
Yes, we can talk about the Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Okay, so Sarg designed the first balloons.
Yeah.
That's the tie into this article, is that Sarg was designed the first balloons for the Macy's Christmas. Later, it was the Thanksgiving Day Parade. But those balloons were nasty looking. They were not family friendly. They were terrifying.
No, some of them were cute.
I guess. You gotta
look at a lot of them. So the very first one was in 1927, and that was Felix the Cat. And then the next year they had 4 more, and those were, let's see, a fish, a tiger, a hummingbird, and an elephant. And they were, so he worked for Macy's. He did a lot of commercial artwork. This is why this was so interesting. So I was looking at it from the marionette part and then learning more about him. He worked for Macy's. He created these balloons. They asked him to create something for their parade, and he created these balloons to be like an upside down marionette. So they were controlled by people with poles, sticks, whatever. Yeah. And so in 1927, they had the first one. The next year, they introduced the others, the 4 more. And then from 1928 to 1932, at the end of the parade, they would open an air valve and just let the balloons go into the air. And then people would try to find them and bring them back for gift certificates from Macy's. But they had to stop doing that because in 1932, there was a plane crash that involved one of the balloons. The person that was flying the plane, it was a student actually, and she deliberately tried to catch the balloon to bring it down, but messed up, and it got wrapped around the airplane, and the instructor had to take over and landed them safely. And so she had some quote like, "Well, at least I have something to be thankful for this year." God. But yeah, so you would just see them flying around New York City for about a week after the parade. No, thank you. No, thank you. You ever see that in Cleveland when they dropped all those balloons? No. Or they did a balloon release, and when they finally landed, it caused terror. There was millions of balloons everywhere. It blocked out the sky. Oh, that's also not good for wildlife. Oh, it was terrible. Yeah, went into the waterways. Yeah. All 9 yards. Yeah. Don't release balloons. No. Don't. So the sea monster. We'll end on the sea monster. Okay, so that was another one of the really fun parts about this. In 1937, and at this point, Tony Sarg they lived in New York City, but he and his family also had a house on Nantucket. They'd bought that in the early 20s, and so summered there, spent time there. And in 1937, a fisherman came to the office of the local newspaper, the Nantucket Enquirer and Mirror, and claimed that he had seen a sea serpent lurking in the waters off the coast. And then the next day, another fisherman told them the same thing. And then they found, like, someone else, they found footprints on the sand, like huge footprints. And so everybody was kind of like, what is going on? What is happening? And then there was a sea serpent, but it was a Macy's Thanksgiving Day balloon sea serpent. And so Tony Stark had set up this whole hoax where, building anticipation, and then they, brought it out far away from shore and had it kind of drifted in, and everybody loved it. So tons of people came to take pictures with the sea serpent, and it was a really positive experience. And then it was in the Thanksgiving Day parade later that year. Really positive experience, and apparently they still talk about it. So there's at the Nantucket Historical Association right now, at the Whaling Museum, they actually have a huge Tony Stark display going on. So if anyone's in Nantucket soon, you can see more of his work.
And we'll send you off with that video of Tony Stark's sea monster at Nantucket. Lacy, what are you writing about next week?
I am writing about barnstorming, like planes doing tricks at a South Roxana field. And then also they tried to fly under the Alton Bridge.
Tried. There you go.
Yes.
Yeah, well, you don't need to foreshadow that one. All righty, we're out of time, but to take you out today, it's the sea monster on Nantucket. I will be back tonight for the Christmas tree lighting ceremony, and I hope I sound better then. Until I see you tonight, try your best to stay out of jail.
I need one so